Good morning, gamers. Welcome back to the Grumpy Old GM's GM Academy in the Game Shop's basement, where we work to address the ongoing Game Master crisis shortage thing that we keep hearing about on YouTube and stuff, by helping you bring out your inner greatest GM. So, today we're going to continue our series about looking at different kinds of playstyles, different ways that different groups of people approach this game. And today we're going to look at the Let's Play an Evil Party playstyle. I'm going to mention some things that I have seen consistently over the past 40 years. I've never seen anything good come out of this playstyle, anything that didn't end badly, with just hurt feelings and bitterness. And I'm going to mention what I've seen, what I've experienced in 40 years. But if that hasn't been your experience, one of my favorite quotes that's right there on our website, at the top of our website at GameShopsBasement.com, is from Gary Gygax. There is no right or wrong way to play this game. So if you enjoy this play style, knock yourself out. Or if you've had positive experiences with it, if you just haven't had the negative experiences that I'm about to talk about, knock yourself out. But here's what I've seen occasionally when people want to experiment with this particular play style. So one of the things that I have seen, obviously, if you were going to even try this, you would want the whole party to agree to it. I did a video several weeks ago that was kind of addressed to players that said, don't make the other players have to be your mom. And some of the criticism that I got from that video on social media and here on YouTube and stuff, I guess YouTube is a kind of social media, but various places, I got some pushback on that with this weird attitude I'd never seen before in 40 years. So, things are changing all the time, So I got this weird pushback that said that player characters should be able to get away with crimes in a role-playing game just because they're player characters. Like, the game master should just let them get away with crimes because that's what they want to do, and that's fun for them. Now, granted, there is no right or wrong way to play this game, and every table's different, and you do what's fun for you. So I guess if that is fun for you, then again, knock yourself out. Go for it. But most people, I think, when they immerse themselves in a role-playing game, they want to immerse themselves in that world. And most worlds, whether it's Forgotten Realms or Star Wars or Star Trek or Dragonlance or even in a place like Ravenloft, there is some form of rule. There is some. Now it's bad if it's in Ravenloft, because there's like a Lord of Ravenloft over, usually like a dictator, a despot or something. But there is some form of rule. There is some form of order. There is a legend about Genghis Khan in real life history that he bragged that a naked virgin with a bag of gold in her lap could ride from one border of his land to the opposite border of his land on a prize stallion, unguarded, unescorted, and be safe because people feared his law that much. And Genghis Khan was not a nice man. So there's usually some form of order or rule in any kind of society, whether we're talking about a city with hundreds of thousands of people like Waterdeep in the Forgotten Realms, or if we're talking about just one barbarian tribe that lives in a stretch of wilderness on some D&D world map somewhere, whether we're talking about in science fiction, whether we're talking about a far-flung planet like Tatooine, Jabba the Hutt kept order, or whether we're talking about a big city planet like Coruscant or something, there is some form of order in society. And so I'm not really into the idea that player characters should just magically be able to get away with crimes just because they're player characters. But if that's what works at your table, if player characters are just some special magical people that can just get away with crimes with no consequences because they're magical player characters, then so be it. That's how you do your table. You do you. But what I've seen in the past 40 years of people trying to be evil parties is I've seen a few things. One of the things that I've seen is at first people can have a lot of fun with it. They feel like they're Butch and Sundance. They feel like they're Bonnie and Clyde. They feel like, like they're Billy the Kid and his gang, but eventually after a few more weeks of that, they realize, and I've seen this again and again and again, after a few more weeks of that, they realize that they're not actually evil. Not like with a capital E, not like evil, not evil like Sauron was evil. Not evil like Emperor Palpatine was evil. Not evil like that lich over there that's thousands of years old is evil. Not evil like a Lovecraftian, Cthulhuid, eldritch horror cosmic entity is evil. Eventually, after a few weeks, most of the tables that I've ever run where people tried to have an evil party was they realized that they weren't actually evil, they were just criminals. And they didn't feel satisfied just being criminals, just being lawbreakers. The thing is, in a fantasy world, there are entities like there are real devils. In D&D, Asmodeus is an entity. And Asmodeus is, according to some D&D lore, he is 6 digits old. He is like hundreds of thousands of years old. Or that lich over there in your fantasy world that, maybe hundreds, 3 digits old, or thousands, 4 digits old. Or that dragon up on that mountain that's nobody knows he's there because he's been sleeping for maybe the past 300 years because that's just a nap to dragons. And people came along and started a town on the side of the mountain and they don't even know a dragon is there. But when that dragon wakes up, that dragon's like over 1,000 years old. And the thing is, player characters, whether they're humans or elves or dwarves or dragonborns or whatever, player characters are mortals. And they were, for the most part, unless you're playing some weird species, they were born babies and they had a childhood and they grew up. Now, maybe it was a terrible childhood and, maybe they grew up on the other side of the wheel from Conan, pushing the wheel, and we just didn't see them because they were on the complete opposite side of the wheel. We didn't see them when we watched the Conan movie. But, the player characters, maybe in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and they're a mortal and a mortal, not immortal, a mortal with an A. And a lot of these evil things are abstract fantasy entities, eldritch powers, ancient beings. And they've already got the market on evil covered in most D&D worlds. So evil in D&D worlds can be like an abstract concept and like a metaphysical. Evil in D&D is metaphysical, and the highest that most player characters rise to when they try to be evil is to most. I say most. I may have seen some exceptions. Those might make some interesting videos, but most player characters, if they try to be evil, they only rise to the level of criminal. They only rise to the level of petty lawbreaker. And this leads to the second thing that doesn't usually work out well, which is somebody has to stop them. And the world has a justice system, the world has a legal system, the world has bounty hunters, the world has knights and constables and police and mercenaries. And what has happened over and over and over again over the years, whenever anybody's tried this, they don't try it too often, but in 40 years, even something that doesn't happen very often happens a lot over 40 years. So I can both say that it doesn't happen a lot. It doesn't happen very frequently. It doesn't happen with a great frequency, but I've still seen it a lot because in 40 years, something that's infrequent still happens a lot. So what generally happens, at least at the tables I've run, in order to run the world of Star Wars, the Jedi come and stop the characters. Or in order to run Forgotten Realms or any credible world of D&D that actually seems like the Forgotten Realms in our video games, in our novels, in our comic books, Forgotten Realms as it's portrayed in the books, either the old TSR books or the modern WotC books. If I'm going to run these worlds, there's going to be some consequences for running around and murdering and raping and arsoning and all this other stuff. There is a group right now, there's one table right now, and they enjoy being criminals. It's not my favorite table to run for, and they know that. But I still run the best I can, and they still pay me because I'm a damn good dungeon master, and I will run that because I'm paying my bills, and that's what I do. But they, have hashtags, and they brag about how many guards they've killed. They brag that they're guard killers. And they're not talking about, evil guards, guarding the bad guy's stuff or guarding the bad guy. They're talking just about guards that would be in a normal functioning society, for the security for a normal functioning society. And there are places that they just can't go now on the maps of my D&D worlds, because if they go to those places, they will be instantly arrested. And that's, so it doesn't, I don't really like that kind of play. If you do, knock yourself out. I really believe in that quote, but I still have my preferences, and I still have the things that I've seen that are enjoyable, not just to me, but to other people. I've never really seen very many people, maybe a few, and like I said, they'd make some interesting videos, but I've never seen very many people actually enjoy the results of the Let's Be Evil playstyle. So, it's over 11 minutes now, so I'm going to close this out. And if you like our content, you want to check out GM Academy, possibly be one of our students, there's Patreon down below. You want to hang out and say hello, there's Discord down below. And if you want to play in one of our games, whatever play style you like, and yes, we do have one seat left if you're out there and you want to try the criminal thing, just say hi on Discord down below. In the meantime, I'll see you around the gaming table.